Japanese scary stories. Natsuno-san. Rabbit hole. When I was in elementary school, there was a small mountain behind the school I attended, and everyone usually called it the back mountain. The elementary school was 3 stories high, but the back mountain was only about twice as high as the elementary school. If you go up the back mountain from the school side, and go down to the other side, you will reach a narrow prefectural road. Due to school rules, I couldn't have a break in the back mountains. Still, I often climbed the back mountain with my friends. Mostly for lunch break. It was an empty mountain with sparse trees, but it was a good playground for children. That's why I was often scolded by my teacher. I feel like I said 100 times, "I'm sorry. I won't go to the back mountain anymore." What I'm going to do now is the story of such a back mountain. I mentioned earlier that it was a mountain with nothing but sparsely grown trees, but it was one of the things that tickle children's hearts. I and a few friends found it. We named it Rabbit Hole. There was a hole in the slope of the back mountain seen from the window of the corridor on the 3rd floor. It was when I was playing with momentum and running down the slope. One of my friends stumbled on something and rolled. I rolled a lot. Blood was bleeding from my knees, but since it was in the countryside, we were interested in something else because it would be fixed if we spit that much. My friend stumbled in a hole. A part of the slope was scooped out with grass, and a hole was exposed from that part, probably a friend of mine. A horizontal hole, not a vertical hole. Until now, it seems that it was hidden in the grass and soil, and could not be seen. The holes are so small that no one can enter them. However, the name was decided as Rabbit Hole by saying that it would be possible to put in a rabbit. When I crouched down and looked into it, it was pitch black inside. It looked like it was growing straight, but it was too dark to understand. The hole then captured the hearts of curious children for some time. First of all, it became a story of what is in this. There was an opinion that it was a mole, an opinion that it was a snake, and an opinion that it was a rabbit. I was a rabbit section. The old man who lives in the mountains told me that rabbits would dig such a nest. In a rabbit's nest, there is more than one exit. There must be more, I said. We started looking for other holes in the back mountain. On that day, the lunch break ended while I was looking for it, and I couldn't find it after all. Another hole was found about 3 days later. There was a hole on the slope on the prefectural road side opposite the school. It was a similar hole. I found it. I was playing hide and seek and found it by chance. When I shouted, "Hole!" Everyone gathered. Look, it was a rabbit. No, it's a snake. It's a different mole. It was after such a barren dispute. I forgot who said it. Maybe it was me. Well, someone said anyway. Then, why don't you put a rabbit in this hole? Alright, let's do it. Whether it's interesting or not is secondary. We are elementary school students. But now I regret it a little. At the school I attended, I used to raise rabbits. And in each grade, there was a breeding committee member, * there is no class, because there were about 80 students in all schools. During the lunch break, they feed the rabbits. And how, the 5th grade breeding committee member at that time was me. It was the next day that it was carried out. During the lunch break, I opened the cage with the name tag Charvo, and had a cute rabbit with brown hair on it. I went to Rabbit Hole. When I arrived, one of my friends was already waiting in the hole, and it seems that several people were standing in the hole on the opposite prefectural road side. I tied a 50-meter tape measure string that my friend brought from the playground warehouse to Charvo's body. I'm going to be a lifeline. Charvo. Stick Charvo's head into the hole. Charvo hated and fluttered his legs. Forcibly push it in. It doesn't look that tight, but if you don't overdo it, you won't be able to change direction. Good morning. I'll feed you when you come back. Poke his ass with his stick, and Charvo reluctantly went deep into the hole. I didn't think it was interrupted on the way. I took it for granted that the 2 holes were connected. 4 meters. A friend next to me reports every meter, pulling out the tape measure as Charvo moves. 8 meters. At that time, it was a small mountain, so I thought it would be less than 50 meters from the hole on the school side to the hole on the prefectural road side. If you think about it now, it would have been a little longer. It wasn't until after 10 meters that I suddenly wondered. The speed of the meter display that my friends count is strange. 13. 14. 15. Oh, it's too early, wait a minute. The handle that turns the tape measure at a tremendous speed was rotating, and there was a humming noise. I saw my friend face to face. Wow, my friend shouted. The tape measure separated from his hand and hit the edge of the hole. The tape measure was bigger than the hole, so I didn't bring it with me. After hitting by Kundakan twice, the tape measure collapsed on the spot as if it was exhausted. There is a word that makes me sick, but I was probably the first in my life. What really made me sick? My friend silently rewound the tape measure he had picked up again. Then I heard a cat-like scream, "Yuganya ah." Then, within a while, some of my friends who were standing in the hole on the prefectural roadside ran and one of them had his legs entangled and fell and rolled next to me. I grabbed the sleeve of the other guy's clothes and asked, "What about Charvo?" "I don't know." "Let go. Speak and let go." Oh my God. The hole blew my bones with tremendous momentum. That said, it ran down to the school building. I didn't know what it was, so I went to the hole on the prefectural roadside with my friend of the tape measure. Certainly, there were some animal bones scattered radially starting from the holes. Is it the bone of a small animal? Nothing is stuck. It was a white and beautiful bone with no complaints on 100 points. I wondered if it was Charvo. Then I thought I had done something wrong. Of course, the teacher got angry on that day, but I apologized somewhat differently than usual. "I'm sorry. I won't do it anymore." Of course, against Charvo. Later, I visited an old man living in the mountains and told him about it. Of course, I was aiming for my grandchildren, but I thought I might know something if I was an old man. "That's Yamanakuchi," said the old man. "What is Yamanakuchi?" "With the mouth of the mountain." "The mouth of the mountain." The old man said so, grabbed my lower lip and stretched it out. When I heard it, I was imaginative and immediately came to me. "Then, what's the other hole?" "Ketsuya." "Yamanasari." I noticed. If so, Charvo was eaten by the mountains. "Hey, old man." "What?" "Rabbits are delicious?" "Good. Do you want to go?" I shake my head. Even so, I'm not sure if I thought at that time that I should say I'll have it even if it's a mountain. When I was silent, my old man slammed my shoulder many times. "Well, don't worry. I just offered offerings to the mountains. Maybe someday." "Old man." "Oh, what?" "Well then, please." On that day, I took the dried potatoes that had been dried at the eaves of my old man's house and went home while biting. The old man didn't give me any trouble after all. However, the old story that there is something good about it was not unheard of. I got fired from the breeding committee. He says that the reason is that he inadvertently missed the rabbit that everyone had. I was usually lucky because it was a hassle to take care of, and the rabbit hut smelled. By the way, Rabbit Hole has been upgraded to Rabbit Eating Hole among children since that event. Then, that day, the guy who ran from the prefectural roadside, ran away, fell and rolled was seriously injured. Since then, regulations prohibiting back mountains have become stricter. So only once. When it was time to leave school, I gently headed for the hole on the prefectural roadside. Pick up an affordable tree branch that had fallen on the way. Get to the hole. Receive. I thrust the stick I got into the hole. And ran away. That trick that every boy has done. I intended to make a small revenge. After that, I have never had such an experience of being repatriated to the mountains. As of now, the elementary school I attended is closed. When I go to my old man's house, I go through that prefectural road, so at that time I also check if there is a hole. At least Yamanatsuri is still there. There are also small bones scattered around, which you don't know what the bones are.